Izzy and Josh are stuck in traffic in Los Angeles with their mother, Eve. As the movie rolls in, Eve notices that cars are going down in the ground, meaning a sinkhole has formed. The family leaves the car immediately and tries to run away from the sinking hole. Josh stops to help a young girl and loses track of his family. He eventually falls into the sinking hole, followed by his mother. Izzy tries to pull her mother out but can't. Eve tells her daughter how much she loves her, unable to help herself out, and falls into the hole. A state of emergency is declared in the whole city and an aerial view is shown of the city, which shows a gigantic hole is formed in the middle of it. People are frightened of the pit that is formed in the center of the city and are fleeing away from it. The movie introduces us to Gavin, Eve's husband, an ex-military pilot who left his job and is suffering from mental health conditions such as trauma, which further caused hallucinations and crazy episodes. He left the job because of a plane crash which led to his condition. As soon as Gavin has dealt with his employer, he sees the news about the sinkhole and rushes to the site to search for his family. She rushes to him and hugs him tightly while sobbing, which makes her dad sure that his wife and son have passed away. All of a sudden, strange vulture-like creatures fly out of the sinkhole, vanishing into the sky. The movie then cuts to a scene showing Eve waking up in a field. After gaining consciousness, she sees a green light in the sky and then starts to look around and sees a bloody handprint on a rock. She starts getting flashbacks of her son Josh falling into the sinkhole and immediately starts to find him. She crosses a meadow and reaches the woods. In the middle of the woods, she sees a man that is staring at the smoke that is coming from nearby. Following the smoke, they reach a point where they see all the people, including Eve's son Josh, and the vehicles that had landed in the sinkhole. She later finds out that all of the vehicles and people have fallen from the green light in the sky but are unable to find a way to go back. The survivors make a group whose purpose is to collect food and water for survival. The group is guided by Dr. Sam. Everyone is doing their job pretty well except Mary Beth, a police officer who tries to hide a box of protein bars. Upon being called out, the police officer tells them that they cannot survive as a community when tough times are to come. The scene then cuts to a wolf chasing Josh and his mother. The wolf later comes to the survivors' place with his pack and tries to take down Eve. Everyone tries to hide from their sight by getting into closed cars. A man named Ty shoots the animal, later realizing that the bullet had hit Josh too and injured him badly. Josh is brought into a bus where Sam tries to apply pressure to his wound to save his life. Sam and Eve later go to look for an ambulance that has fallen from the green light, hoping it would have the medication to save Josh's life. In the absence of both Eve and Sam, Sam's daughter Riley nurses Josh. Back in Los Angeles, Dr. Sophia, the chief scientist of the Department of Homeland Security, delivers a statement claiming that there were no survivors and that they will do their best to retrieve the bodies. Gavin and Izzy are present at the site. Gavin tells his daughter Izzy about his visions where he sees empty fields and meadows, but now he is seeing Eve over there too. In the meantime, Sophia's team tries to send a drone to the green light, but as the drone gets near the green light it loses its signal. Gavin sees another vision in which he sees a drone falling. Gavin tries to tell both Sophia and Izzy about his visions, but they both don't take him seriously and neglect him. Gavin starts to realize that his visions are starting to sound insane, so he runs to his house to find a photo of his wife and him from a trip where they took a photo near the stone which had a bloody red hand printed on it. Luckily, he manages to find the photo and finds out the address of where the stone might be. In the meadow, Eve and Sam are searching for the ambulance. On the way, they find Ty trying to harm himself because he had given up. Sam and Eve try to talk him through and tell him that he deserves to live. Ty later joins them both in finding the ambulance, as he had seen the ambulance when he had landed. Meanwhile, in LA, Gavin has found the rock and started to dig around. Izzy thinks that her father has gone insane. Gavin finds Eve's ring on the ground that Eve used to wear around her neck. On the other hand, Eve, Sam, and Ty find the ambulance. Eve reads the Hollywood Hill sign on the vehicle in the hill in front of her. Both of them looked pretty similar, which meant she was still in LA but in a different time zone. All three are then attacked by a tiger that starts to run behind them. The three try their best to outrun the tiger, but Sam falls down a hill. Eve and Ty keep on running and are almost caught by the beast when all of a sudden the tiger falls into a trap made by humans. Which meant that there were other humans over there. Both Ty and Eve go to the bottom of the hill, where they find Sam. Sam's back has been injured pretty badly and they both try to carry him to the camp. Meanwhile, Josh's wound starts to get worse, and he requires medication as soon as possible. Sam, knowing he is slowing all of them down, convinces Eve to go to Josh first while Ty took care of him. On the other hand, Mary Beth opens up the trunk of a car and finds drugs. Keeping it a secret, she tries to talk to people about a man wearing a green jacket. She comes across a girl, Veronica, and her mute sister Lily. Veronica's father had died the day before, and his body was nowhere to be found. Veronica tries to go into the woods accompanied by Scott and leaves her sister under the protection of Mary Beth. In the meantime, Eve reaches her son, gives him an antibiotic, and sews up his wounds. Eventually, his temperature starts to go back to normal. Meanwhile, Gavin sees a doctor talking about the ongoing situation in LA and figures out that Sophia would be no help to him. He visits the doctor himself and tries to convince him to carbon date the ring that he had found of his wife. Sophia tracks Gavin and finds out about his plan and decides to talk to him. She tells him that an identical sinkhole was formed in the ground, which made Gavin remember that he was there because of his accident. On the other hand, the results of carbon dating come out and the ring is said to be from 10,000 BC. Sophia, upon seeing the evidence, decides to take the case further and shows Gavin a special airplane that she had decided to send into a sinkhole. The pilot picked for this mission was Gavin's old mate Levi. As the scene progresses in 10,000 BC, Veronica and Scott are on their mission looking for her father. They see a herd of camels about to walk into a tar pit, but Scott is successful in stopping them. Later on, both of them see Veronica's father's dead body, which is placed in the center of a palm which is made of stones. Meanwhile, Sam and Ty meet a guy with a green jacket named Lucas. The three of them reach the camp, and it is found that Lucas is a drug dealer and Mar Beth's son, and their relationship is not too good. On the other hand, Riley gives drugs to Sam due to his back injury. Scott tries to tell the whole camp that the camels he saved today from the tar pit were rescued a month ago. Later, Lucas throws a stick, and it gets caught in another trap made by humans. On the other hand, Eve and Ty leave to find sustenance, but while searching they come across a bear that tries to attack them. They hide inside a cave whose entrance is blocked by stones. They meet Mary Beth and Lucas in the cave and start to explore the cave with them. Ty goes into the water to find a way out, but instead, he finds the dead body of someone from the future who had killed himself. They all thought to keep this a secret and not tell the others so they would not lose hope. In the future, Levi and Gavin are talking to each other before Gavin's departure in the green light. Levi confesses to having an affair with his wife Eve. The flight departs, and as it reaches the green light, the signal is lost. The plane is caught on fire and crashes in the past, and it is assumed by Gavi and Izzy that they have lost Levi too. On the other hand, Riley thanks Scott for giving her the drugs to help her father. Scott later revealed that he had buried the drugs in the woods and cannot recall where. Meanwhile, the green light grows bigger than normal, and an airplane with Levi enters and goes down to the ground. In the morning, Riley, Lucas, Eve, Scott, and Josh leave to find the aircraft. Upon looking for the aircraft, they find Levi. Eve runs towards Levi and hugs him. Levi further explains to them about his mission and how the people are trying to help them. All of them set out to look for the airplane, hoping that it might be operating. After reaching the crash site, Levi tells them that the engine and the radio compressor are broken, and the parts are nearly impossible to get in this era, but somehow, if they got them, he might be able to fix it. Levi had bought food supplies with him. As they are making their plan to head back to the camp, a signal on the airplane pops up from 3 miles in the woods. All of them decide that they need to follow the signal because it might be their only hope to get back home. On the other hand, Veronica does not let Lily confess her thoughts to anyone. Lily becomes frustrated with her and runs back into the woods. There she finds a corpse of a man that was from their camp. Lily knows what happened to the man, but her sister Veronica doesn't let her talk to anyone about the corpse. In the future, there is an earthquake in Los Angeles, and the reason for it was declared Levi's airplane crash. All the missions are halted due to this reason. Gavin tries to visit Sophia but finds out that she is on a vacation. Looking around in her office, he finds a photo of Sophia and a woman named Rebecca, who was present in the Sinkhole exploration program. Gavin thinks that she might have the answers, so he drives back home, where Izzy helps him find Rebecca's address on the internet. Both of them drive to her house, and after reaching Rebecca's home, they find that Sophia was there too. Sophia and Rebecca tell both of them that when the last sinkhole was found in the desert, a group of scientists was sent in to investigate, but they were trapped in 10,000 BC due to the closing of the Green Rift, and they are trapped there for almost 3 years. Sophia and Rebecca show an airplane to Gavin and Izzy that they had built in secrecy from others. They were going to use it to continue the mission because they had many people close to them that were stuck in the sinkhole. They have to launch their airplane behind the government's back, and Gavin would have